This is our continuation of Twisted House Sitter. If you haven't seen the first one, basically Alicia was squatting in a rich woman's house. In doing so, she accidentally killed the housemaid Daya and was eventually caught and imprisoned for it. Time passes, and Alicia, now accustomed to prison, shares a cell with Cece, a fashion geek. One day, Alicia suddenly convulses and begins jizzing in her mouth. Cece quickly calls the guards. About 12 hours later, Tyler, a medical practitioner, checks into a hotel with Alicia. He prescribes her medication to help heal her heart, and together they marvel at his genius plan that got her out of jail. He explains that he switched her body for another at the morgue, which will be cremated, and that Alicia has been officially declared dead. Tyler kisses her, calls her his woman, and gives a phone and his credit card, warning her to use it only for food and to call him directly. Crazy enough, I know many people who work in prisons who fall for prisoners. They're usually lonely and ugly, so this tracks. Days after Tyler leaves, Alicia browses the web for designer outfits. After realizing the brand belongs to Morgan, she changes her mind and decides not to go after her anymore. Curious, she searches for Morgan's rank on the Forbes list and sees that the company sits at number 2. The number 1 spot belongs to Love Priscilla Corporation, owned by Pamela Dorian. While going through their content, Alicia notices Tara, Pamela's executive assistant, is on a trip to Paris and has asked Loren to temporarily fill in for her. Suddenly, Tyler returns and explodes with anger when he sees Alicia frivolously spending his money. He reprimands her for buying a wig, but Alicia says that's a necessity. Real. He worries about being discovered, something that could cost him his medical license and send him to jail. Still, Alicia presses him about their trip to Miami, but Tyler tells her he's been transferred to Nebraska and that they'll be going there instead. Alicia immediately refuses because what the hell is in Nebraska? She tells him to go without her, but Tyler grabs her by the arm and insists she'll be coming with him since she has no one else to depend on. He orders her to stay in the room, then takes his credit card before she maxes it out. After he leaves, Alicia scoffs and calls him an idiot, revealing she had already taken a picture of the card, his credit score about to plummet. She then looks at Lauren's profile and realizes Lauren is her foster sister. Determined, she tracks Lauren down and meets her on the way to an interview. Lauren tells her she's in a hurry, but Alicia abruptly demands that she give her the job. As Lauren heads into the building, insisting she doesn't have time, Alicia follows. She tries to force Lauren to accept a luxury handbag, but Lauren refuses. Alicia shoves the bag at her, and in the process, Lauren slips and tumbles down the stairs, resulting in her death. Death by stairs is crazy. After confirming she's gone, Alicia drags her to her car, takes her shake-and-go wig, and disguises herself as Lauren. Just like Clark Kent, the identity change will go unnoticed. Arriving at LPC, Alicia meets Amara, the receptionist. Though skeptical, since Alicia doesn't quite look like Lauren, Amara introduces her to Pamela and Marcus Dorian. Pamela orders Amara to escort her to Tara's office, where Alicia faces an interview. Playing up Pamela's ego, she flatters her as the perfect mentor and impresses her enough to land the job. Hollywood needs to hire Vivica a Fox more because Tubi checks, ain't it? Alicia quickly adapts to her new role. When Marcus asks her to deliver coffee to Pamela, she later returns the gesture and catches him experimenting with a new eye cream formula. He confides that though he opposes taking the company public, the board is pressuring him. Testing the cream, Alicia cleverly suggests it works better as a concealer. Marcus is impressed with her, but I'm sure Marcus is trying to hit that. At night, Tyler returns to the hotel only to find Alicia gone. He discovers her phone still in the room and realizes she's vanished. The next day, Alicia overhears Marcus arguing with Pamela about their uncertain product launch. She purposefully bumps into him, spilling coffee on herself. Marcus apologizes, offers to buy her a new dress, but she declines, then slyly voices her support for his position against the board. Soon after, Pamela instructs Alicia to schedule a meeting with Roger, the board chairman, and then to fix her house since she fired her maid. She gives Alicia her keys, warns her to be ready for Everett, her designer, at 1 p.m., and hands her a phone she must keep on her at all times. At Pamela's home, Alicia indulges herself by trying on clothes until Everett arrives. When Pamela joins them, Everett presents designs. Pamela asks Alicia's opinion, and she boldly suggests a different design in blue. Pamela loves it and instructs Everett to follow Alicia's choice, but Everett looks annoyed AF. Afterwards, Everett discreetly tells Pamela she's booked a weekend retreat for her and Marcus to mend their strained marriage, unaware that Alicia is listening. The next morning, Marcus and Pamela are stunned to find that Alicia spent the night working at their home. What is up with her McDonald's logo-shaped wig? Pamela gives her a long to-do list before leaving for the retreat. Once alone, Alicia tries on Pamela's bathrobe and gives herself a fistful of pleasure in the bathtub. But Marcus returns early, catching her being big-backed. Marcus sympathizes, admits Pamela stresses him out, and shares a drink with her. Impressed by her eye cream suggestion, he even offers to push for a permanent position for her. Curious about her personal life, he asks, and Alicia lies, saying her ex threw her out. Manipulated by her sob story, Marcus suggests she move into their house. When Pamela later returns, she's furious at Alicia lounging in her bathrobe. Marcus covers for her, claiming she has nowhere to go, and convinces Pamela to let her stay in the former maid's room until Tara comes back. Meanwhile, Tyler traces his credit card records and locates Alicia at Pamela's place. He confronts her as she takes out the trash, demanding she leave with him. Marcus intervenes, learns Tyler is her ex, and threatens to call the police. Before storming off, Tyler warns Alicia ominously. Pamela sees this and worries for Alicia, but is confused that she'd date a man who looks like that. Alicia resumes her duties. One day while Marcus is away, Pamela quietly flips through an old photo album filled with pictures of her late sister, Priscilla. Pamela shares a drink with Alicia, commending her creativity. She opens up about Priscilla, revealing that she founded the company in her honor and even named it after her. They toast together, but as soon as Marcus approaches, Pamela hurriedly hides the alcohol and asks Alicia to keep their little ritual a secret. The next day, Amara pays Pamela a visit and warns her that Alicia isn't who she claims to be. She pulls up Lauren's Instagram page and insists Lauren looks totally different. When Pamela brings up Alicia's supposed ex-boyfriend, Amara quickly points out that Lauren has always been into scissoring women. She promises to confirm the truth with her cousin, Kiki, who knew Lauren back in college. Later, Pamela drops some clothes off in Alicia's room, but notices a bottle in her bag. Assuming it's cheap Ozempic, she digs further, but Alicia suddenly walks in and confronts her. Caught, Pamela lies, saying she just needed more cream. Alicia smoothly redirects her, reminding her about her meeting with Roger. After Pamela leaves, Alicia spots a text on Pamela's phone, Amara mentioning that Lauren has been ghosting her girlfriend ever since she started working with Pamela. Alicia deletes the message before returning the phone. Not long after, Alicia overhears Pamela's tense meeting with Roger. He warns her that her past DUI could jeopardize the IPO and insists on adding a clause that if she's caught drinking again, the deal is off. Sensing Pamela's nerves, Alicia swoops in, booking a dinner reservation for Pamela and Marcus to help ease the tension. That night, while Pamela and Marcus are out, Amara arrives at the house. Alicia lures her inside, spikes her bourbon, and tries to suffocate her. Amara struggles, breaks free, and falls. But before she can escape, Alicia bludgeons her to death with a metal ball. Death by ornamental decor is diabolical. By morning, Alicia goes to Pamela, who is scrolling through Lauren's profile, suspiciously asking if she's been in touch with Amara. Alicia denies it, then later snoops through Pamela's laptop. Downstairs, Pamela gushes over the new dress Everett designed. Alicia joins them, pouring drinks to celebrate. Despite Everett's look of disapproval, Pamela gives in and has a glass. Later, as Pamela tries on her gown, Alicia receives a call from Tyler. He threatens to expose her if she doesn't leave with him for Nebraska that very night. Thinking quickly, Alicia takes the medication Tyler once prescribed her and slips it into Pamela's spritzer. The women share a glass, and before Everett leaves, Alicia secretly takes her phone. She shows it to Pamela and offers to return it for her. But on the drive over, Pamela suddenly collapses. When Alicia shakes her awake, Pamela has a head wound and a bloodstain smears the car. Outside, Tyler lies unconscious. This Alicia Ho is a psycho genius. Panicked, Pamela suggests taking him to the hospital, but Alicia convinces her otherwise, planting the idea that Pamela herself caused the accident while driving drunk. She promises to handle everything. After putting Pamela in an Uber, Alicia loots Tyler and has the car cleaned. Later, Marcus comes home ecstatic about the contract signing, but immediately notices Pamela's wound and low spirits. She brushes it off, claiming she hit her head on a cabinet. Alicia returns just in time to boast about fixing the car, earning Marcus's attention. Pamela, rattled, excuses herself to bed, where she suffers nightmares of the accident, visions of Alicia behind the wheel before switching places with her. The next morning, Tyler's death makes the news, though his identity isn't revealed. At a board meeting later, Pamela struggles with hallucinations and loses focus. Alicia steps in, flawlessly taking over Pamela's role, impressing the Whiteys so much that they offer her a permanent position. Marcus goes in to hug, and it's a bit too much for a married man. The following morning, Marcus congratulates Alicia, but notices Pamela is completely zoned out. Concerned, he calls a doctor to book an appointment. After he leaves, Pamela receives a call from Kiki, Amara's cousin. asking if she's heard from Amara. During their conversation, Pamela learns that Loren has a girlfriend. Suspicious, she sends Kiki a picture of Alicia. Kiki immediately recognizes her, not as Loren, but as Loren's foster sister. After the call, Pamela confronts Alicia, calling her by her real name and telling her she knows the truth. Alicia then blackmails her with a hit and run and threatens to tell Marcus about Pamela drinking. Marcus shows up after realizing that Pamela is out of bed and senses tension between the girls, but they do not open up to him. After Pamela goes back inside, he asks Alicia for the truth about his wife's head injury, and she indirectly reveals that it was caused due to her drinking. This hoe is trifling. Pissed, he decides to take matters into his own hands, so he calls Everett later that night and scolds her for letting Pamela drink. Everett tries to defend Pamela, but Marcus informs her of the clause attached to their company and tells her about sending Pamela to rehab. Everett immediately objects, but Marcus insists, stating they'll come get Pamela the following day and tell everyone she has COVID. The next day, a rehab team shows up at Pamela's place to get her, and Everett and Marcus try to explain the situation. After realizing that they want her taken away, Pamela connects the dots and sees that Alicia is after her company, so she blames her for everything. Unfortunately, Marcus and Everett defend Alicia, so she runs to Alicia's room to bring out the medication, but her frantic efforts convince the others that she needs rehab badly. Later at rehab, Pamela recalls the events that occurred before the accident and realizes that it was Alicia who drove the vehicle. Meanwhile, LPC and its board members celebrate at the Dorians, and Alicia wears Pamela's dress for the event. Despite Everett's complaints, Marcus defends Alicia and tells Everett he's doing her a favor. Meanwhile at rehab, Pamela gets her hands on the keys to the facility, so she escapes and shows up as a waitress in her own house. There she tails Alicia and confronts her alone in the restroom. Alicia reminds her about the blackmail, but Pamela doesn't care and promises to go down with her. Alicia then hits her and tries to run to Marcus, but Pamela grabs hold of her and pummels her to the ground in front of everyone. Now that's the Vivica I know. Unfortunately, Marcus intervenes and doesn't listen to Pamela. Instead, he sides with Alicia despite everything Pamela reveals about her. Suddenly, the police show up, having been tipped beforehand by Alicia, and they arrest Pamela for Tyler's murder. Later that night, Alicia seduces Marcus, seeing how vulnerable he is, and he falls for her Venus flytrap. The next day in prison, Pamela, looking like a real gangsta, ends up in the same cell as Cece, and as Cece runs her mouth about her, she identifies Alicia in the magazine and wonders why she's still alive. Hearing Alicia out of someone else's mouth, Pamela sits up and asks Cece to tell her everything she knows about Alicia. So Cece runs her mouth, revealing everything she knows about Alicia. Pamela smiles while listening attentively. And that's the end of the movie. What did y'all think of this one? There doesn't seem to be a part 3 because Tubi couldn't afford Vivica, so we can assume Alicia was caught and in prison.
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We got lots more of foolishness on this channel that'll have you hollering. And if you like to watch more, just click here or here.